I got 27 seconds to create a moment I always dreamt about. Sometimes that's all you got. But you prepare for those 27 seconds, you'll have it. And your mind goes into a quiet zone. You just feel what you need to do. And that's what happened. When I was on defense, I went into that quiet zone, and I went into that focus zone. And I moved on the ball, and my energy took me towards the ball carrier, which made the tackle. As the game ended, got the tackle, and that's when the guys came on, carried me off. It was a historical moment. Never happened at Notre Dame. Never. No one's ever been carried off that field. First time ever. And it happened. And, hey, they made a movie out of it. First is Daniel, D-A-N-I-E-L. Then Ruettiger, R-U-E-T-T-I-G-E-R. I was born in Joliet, Illinois, raised in Joliet, grew up in Joliet. I'm one of 14, so.
And had there been a history of military service in your
My
family?
dad was a World War II veteran, B-17 bomber, 22 missions. He's our true hero.
That's amazing. What was his role on the bomber?
He was a gunner, what they call a mid-gunner. I don't know if you've ever been on a B-17, but that's a tin can. They didn't have heat, and they had to wear special clothing. It was rough. It was tough.
At what point, growing up in the Chicago suburbs, did you develop the dream of playing at Notre Dame?
Well, in church. Priest come up, give the Notre Dame score. It gave my dad a smile, because I'm one of 14. He worked 3 jobs. So Notre Dame kind of gave him that relief valve. Plus being Catholic, it gave him hope. So Notre Dame was what you would hang your hat on. And Notre Dame wins, we had a great week at home. Notre Dame loses, not so good. So I knew that was the trigger to my dad, was Notre Dame football.
You played football in high school.
Played football in high school. I was very fortunate. Listen, football in high school was no different than, because no one really knew what to do. You didn't have the greatest coaches, or you didn't have the technique coaches like you did in college. But we had great people that understood human behavior. My head coach, Gordy Gillespie, was that guy. He always empowered you with good thoughts, power thoughts. Made you feel like you were important. Even though you weren't, but he made you feel like you were. So he made you feel bigger than what you were, which is important. So I miss that type of empowerment instead of beating you down like you're not fast enough, you're not good enough. Never said that. He would always encourage you to do better.
But there were other people when you were growing up that weren't so encouraging.
Well, you're always going to have that, no matter what. It's called human nature. You're always going to have that adversary. You're always going to have that person who's going to make you feel bad. It's called bullying, but there are certain teachers can bully, parents can bully, cousins can bully. People mentally bullied you without knowing they bullied you because they thought, maybe that's the thing we should do, make them feel bad so I could feel good. Because it was kind of like in high school, in middle school, the teachers created it because they would read your report card out in front of everyone. Why would you do that? I didn't do real well. All of a sudden now you're doomed as a dummy. And I had a learning disorder. And so that created it all starts with the teacher, I think, how they create that culture. You have great teachers and you have some bad teachers. So it starts in school. It also starts at home. But man, if you don't have that empowerment from your teacher, if they don't make you feel like you're worthy, it's going to be a tough road.
Well, and they're discouraging your dreams, which is the exact opposite.
Well, we all have dreams. You know, I always want to be a country singer. I want to be Garth Brooks, or why not? If he can do it, why can't I? Well, I can't sing. That's why, right? But my point is, it's like football. I wanted to play football for Notre Dame to make my dad proud. Well, I'm not a good athlete. I can't be that. I'm not that guy. Oh, by the way, Rudy, you got to get in there academically. Well, I'm not going there either because academically, I'm not doing well. and I don't know if I could do well because I'm not doing well here. So that dream was like a star, so far away, but so close to your heart. And that was the challenge. Why has God given me this dream when I can never achieve it? Now, this is where the military comes in.
So after you graduate high school,
I go to work at a power plant, and I met a couple Navy guys, good guys. They were in the Navy, and they always encourage, you should go to the Navy. You don't belong here. Go get some, what they call wisdom. Go get some experience. Well, Vietnam was happening. I had to make a choice. Join or get drafted. So I joined. And I was also told by my high school, believe it or not, counselor or whatever they call them, you got to be smart to go to the Navy. I mean, I can't go to the Navy then. So I went down and saw the recruiter. I said, how smart do you have to be in the Navy? He said, what are you talking about? He says, you're already smart. You're here. You're all right. So he gave you that confidence already. See, big difference. It started right there.
Where'd you go for training, and what was that
Great
experience?
Lakes.
Yeah.
Cold. January, cold. In boot camp, here's what's happening in boot camp. Gratitude comes in. I don't know if you understand this, but I come from a large family. Never had my own underwear. You don't. Your brothers steal it, and you're always fighting over underwear or socks or shoes because you never had your own stuff. Well, in the Navy, guess what? You get your own underwear. How excited do you think you get at that moment? See, it's the joy you have and gratitude that comes now. Wow, I got my own underwear. How simple, but how powerful that is. And when they stamped your name on the back of that underwear, the dude next to you can't wear your underwear. So no one could steal my underwear. That's a big moment because I come from that large family of underwear thieves. So now I have gratitude. Now I look at the Navy and the boot camp much differently because of gratitude. And you know what? The drill instructor or our commander that took care of us recognized character. He always pointed me out. That Foot Locker's good, shipmate. Way to go. Show these other shipmates how to do that. So he kind of made me a leader, and I thought you had to be smart to be a leader. You need character to be a leader. You need a commitment to be a leader, pride to be a leader, and that's what changed, start changing.
That's amazing. Where were you in the 14 kids?
Third.
You're third.
Number
Okay.
3.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, what ship were you assigned to, and where'd you go?
When I got out of boot camp, they assign you to, it's funny because you don't know ships yet. You don't know what it's going to be like. But they gave me the USS Northampton, CC-1. It was a communication command ship. But it was in dry dock in Boston. So they send you to Boston. Very historical area, by the way. And that was my first duty station, Boston. But we're not going anywhere. You're in dry dock, right? You're there for 6 months in dry dock. So you got to learn a lot about the guys on the ship and different. You didn't understand the water yet. You didn't understand the navigation of a ship yet. Just getting it ready for seaworthiness. And hey, when we got out to sea, it was a lot different than dry dock. Holy cow, this thing, I get seasick. And I'm starting to get, whoa, what's going on here? So you're starting to feel the ocean's mean and calm. So you get to see both of that. And so you start appreciating calm waters, and you're praying for calm waters. But man, when you're in rough waters, it's a whole different deal. So you had to learn how to fight that. So there's a lot of things you had to learn. You're not in the rice fields. You're out at sea. You see nothing but water, right? So we go to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, what they call a shakedown cruise for the ship. And because nuclear power was coming in at that time, and they were testing this ship, and it did not pass its requirements. So we came back to Norfolk and decommissioned it. I was very lucky because I was what they call maintenance data collection. I worked in the yeoman's office. We collected data on all the machinery they would take out of commission. We would record that data. So I got to be one of the last guys to go on the ship. Then they said, you can have a dream ship, wherever you want to go, Rudy. I want to go to the Mediterranean. Well, that's the Sixth Fleet. They put you on a destroyer. That's not a dream ship, man. That's rough. You are a true sailor if you go on a destroyer, because you're hitting rough waters at 40-foot swells, and actually we're with the Enterprise, so we're destroyer escort, and then you learn there's other submarines under there too. So the Sixth Fleet was interesting, and now you're hitting rough water in the North Atlantic, calm waters in the Mediterranean. So you hit the Red Sea, the Indian Sea, you had all these different ports, and you're starting to see the world differently. My attitude started changing. I'm seeing the world now. I said, wow, you can be anybody you want to be, and it just changed your attitude, and you see life differently. That's when it really started dreaming. The dream came alive for Notre Dame. There was I was on, because you're a helmsman, because you do everything on a destroyer. And the officer of the deck who was there had a Notre Dame ring on. I didn't know it was until, we were in rough waters, and he says, sailor, steer this ship, because I'm sick, left 10 degrees rudder, and I'm having a tough time. He puts his hand on that wheel, and I see the Notre Dame ring. I said, oh, wow. All of a sudden, my seasickness went away. I said, did you go to Notre Dame? He said, yes, sir. He said, yes, I did. I said, can I go there, sir? He said, you steer the ship, you go anywhere you want. So that type of empowerment, those little power thoughts, you understand?
Right.
So that's why it worked.
Did you still have the Notre Dame dream? Did he revive it?
Well, you always have the dream, but it's impossible.
Yeah.
You always dream about, like I said, you wanted to be a country singer, but that's not possible. But Notre Dame could be possible.
Sure.
Why not? But the impossible was the academics. Wow. Guess what? When there's a tragedy, you learn in the military, you move forward, move on. Don't dwell on it, just keep moving. And when my friend got killed in the factory, when I came back from the Navy, I just put my hopes and dreams into God's hands and went towards my dream. Didn't know what to do, how it was going to happen, just went towards it. And there are people that will come into your life. This is what's amazing about the Navy. The guy I went to see at the junior college was in the Navy. And he never asked me my past grades. If he did, they were bad. He never asked me why Notre Dame. He just said, we need a game plan. Let's develop a game plan if that's what you want to do. We could do that. We can put you in line with courses that are parallel with Notre Dame. So he gave you hope because of the Navy attitude. That's the attitude. So all that stuff, I said, this is awesome. Then anyhow, so he developed that game plan. I committed to 4 semesters. And you work hard every semester and you're doing well. Now you think you can get there, because if you don't get there now, you won't be able to walk on for football because they don't accept junior walk-ons. Wait a minute. Who said that? Well, he said that. Does that mean it's true? No, it's not true. Because when I met Eric Parsesia for the first time, he was in the Navy. And he connected to me. He said, son, when you get in here, when you come here and get in here, you come and see me. Of course, because he saw character again. A veteran. He loved that because he's a veteran. So all of a sudden you're hitting all these veterans that are in positions of power. And they understood who you were, and what you had to go through. That's the difference.
You enrolled in Holy Cross College, which is near Notre Dame, right?
It's right across the street. The Holy Cross Fathers ran Notre Dame. Holy Cross Orders ran Notre Dame and Holy Cross.
And so what you were trying to do is build up your academics so you could transfer?
Yeah, because they said if you take this course and do well, we'll endorse you to go to Notre Dame. You can't go on without my endorsement. So you needed to do well. And there's only 100 kids in the school. Think about it. So you had small classes, and the professors were there to help you, not discourage you. They wanted you to win. There's a big difference. Here's a great example. Like in class, if you don't know, ask. If you're taking a test and just raise your hand. I'll help you understand what we're asking you. That's a big difference in putting a guy in a situation. Why would you move forward if you don't understand what I'm asking you? You'll make a mistake. We don't want that. We want you to win. There's a big difference of attitude, of how they collaborated. how they wanted you to win. And that's how I did well at Holy Cross to transfer to Notre Dame.
And how many years were you there?
2 years.
2 years.
But I applied at Notre Dame twice and got turned down twice. But instead of saying, why aren't you accepting me, said, what more do I need to do? And they liked that.
Is Ara Parsegan still the coach at this time?
Yes.
Okay.
He's still the coach, and he allowed me to walk on as a junior. They don't like walk-ons. Walk-on, they got the scholarship guys. You're a walk-on, you don't get anything. You're lucky you get a helmet. You're lucky you get a locker. You had to earn it. Hey, the scholarship guys, they get their food paid for. Walk-ons, you got to pay for their food. Scholarship guys get their rooms paid for. I got to pay for my room. Books, they get free books. I got to pay for my books. I got to pay for everything. But who helped me pay for that? The Navy, called the GI Bill. That was my answer to the, I call financial crisis that I can never afford. You can, because we have a GI Bill. Isn't that cool?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
The Navy changed your life.
Changed my whole life.
So they accept you as a walk-on.
No, you have to earn it. Not that they accept you yet. You still have to earn it. He gave you a chance, an opportunity. Okay. Most guys just quit as walk-ons because they don't see they don't see it's worth it. All you do is sit there and they, hold a bag, and you don't get that opportunity. But you got to keep working like you're going to get it. And when you get your chance, you're ready. Preparation. Who taught you that? Good thing we had drills in the Navy, war drills, and even though we didn't have a war going, but we still drilled and drilled and drilled, because when it did happen, we were ready. So that preparation I understood in the Navy that helped me prepare for my one moment. Does that make sense?
So discipline and perseverance?
And preparation, and getting through those moments of, I just got to keep working hard, keep getting better, because my moment comes, I'm going to be ready. It's like you don't know when war is going to happen, but you got to prepare yourself. Does that make sense?
Sure.
And that's why the military helped me.
So how did your relationships develop, not only with the coaching staff, but with the other players?
Other players didn't look, you had issues with players. I'll be honest. Because you're disturbing their comfort zone. You're working too hard, dude. But the guys who were inspired by you wanted to work hard.
Now, your senior year, you have a new coach.
New coach.
Dan Devine.
Right.
And how did you develop
Good. He
your
was military. He was Army. So he liked that veteran connection. I got lucky with veterans. They understood me. So Dan Devine had issues with adjusting to, like any new coach, to the new culture. But he liked me because I was a veteran. He can communicate to me. He could talk to me about leadership, talk to me what am I doing wrong. We had that type of relationship.
And so, as the season went on, your goal obviously is to dress for a game and make it on.
Well, there's a rule that came out that year called the NCAA stupid rule. They cut down the dress list to 60. Ara Parsegan would dress 110 for home games. Because if you worked hard, you could dress. I'm not saying you're going to play, but you could dress. That was a big incentive to walk through that tunnel with a Notre Dame uniform. So Ara promised that to all seniors. That was including me. When Dan Devine came in, they took that away. So he could not do that because he had a rule he had to stick with. Only 60 kids could dress, which means 50 have to sit home. Which was, even if you worked hard, you're not going to dress. That's a total commitment. Are you going to still come to practice as a walk-on, even though you're never going to dress? Think about it.
How did you find out you'd be dressing for the Georgia Tech game?
Oh, it was Friday. Thursday was bad, when your name wasn't on the dress list. Say, how could you work so hard? You go through those moments, even though you understand, you still have those, because you're human. Now you're going to have a little pity party, what I call it. And that's where you need good relationships again. Your relationship comes from all kinds of people. It's just not from the upper echelon. It could be from just a regular, ordinary guy that would encourage you to keep moving forward. And here's the key. I was upset. And I wasn't going to go to practice because why should I go to practice now if I'm not going to dress? And I worked with this janitor. That was part of my extra work I had to do in order to pay for some of my food, and also my board was paid for because I got to sleep and have a room in the athletic convocation center. So we had a relationship, and his name was Rudy too, and he limped a lot. I never really focused on that. And I'm walking back to my room, and he sees me. He says, "Hey, Rudy, aren't you supposed to be at practice?" Because he's used to that. I said, "Nah, I'm not going today." He said, "Why not? What's going on?" And I told him, just a little words of encouragement. Get back out there. Don't let them get kind of like the best of you. Now, in the movie, we created a whole different message, more powerful. He never said that. He said it his blue collar way, with some bombs there. You know what I mean? So my whole point was, you had that type of relationship. You go back out there. You had no idea that one guy, the captain of this football team, went into our defensive coach and said Rudy should dress because he's a veteran. We need one guy to give up his uniform. So they go to Pat Sarb. And Pat Sarb, who dressed for 3 years, 4 years, every game, said, "Yeah, I'll give up my uniform. I already dressed." So he gave up his uniform so I could dress. And that's when I found out that Friday night when Dan Devine was going through housekeeping. So, we got one more thing. We're going to dress one more guy. And this one of our players gave up his uniform so Rudy could dress. That was a big moment.
What was that moment like for you? A few hours before, you didn't even want to go back to practice, and now you find out you're going to dress on Saturday.
What a dummy I am. Feeling sorry for myself. What is wrong with me? Because we have those moments. And now you say, boy, am I glad I listened to, Rudy, the janitor. Wow, you say, it's kind of like everything you do in life, there's a person, I call them God winks, little angels that come into your life when you need them, and then your faith is strong. So that's what happens.
All right, take me to game day. What's it like
Well,
getting dressed
game day is
and running
awesome.
out there?
No name on your jersey? You're the only guy with no name? You can have a pity party with that? No, say, I got a jersey, man. It's not the name on my back. It's a uniform, right? I was so excited. So the entitled guy says, "Hey, where's your name, Rudy?" Get out of here. I got a jersey. I had that attitude. And the captain of the team asked me to come take us out in the field. That was cool. When you do that, people they'll recognize a guy with no name on his jersey. It doesn't matter. But here's the key. During that game, I'm starting to realize I could do this. I could play. I just need an opportunity. Well, there was a defensive end on our team called by the name of Ross Browner, All-American, Super Bowl afterward. And Willie Fry, 2-time Super Bowl winner with the Pittsburgh Steelers defensive end. And guess who got me in the game? Those guys. Guys like that, because they understood me, they understood how hard I work, and they identified with me, and they were not entitled. They worked hard because where they came from, and they respected that hard work. And in fact, if it wasn't for Ross, I would never played. If it wasn't for Tony Zappala, I would never played, because those guys got me in the game.
You need this opportunity to get in the game. They're the ones that.
Well, you need an opportunity to get in the game. Georgia Tech's greatest offense, one of the top offensive teams in the country, and Notre Dame needed to beat them. And believe it or not, we're only beating Georgia Tech by 2 touchdowns. It was the fourth quarter, and a game can go either way. Now I want to get in the game. If you don't step on that field for 1 second, your name will never be in that record book. Period. So dressing's fine, at least you're here, but I got to play. I got to get on that field. And, man, it was getting down to the 1 minute of the game. And in order for me to play, we had to score so I can get on defense. We need, and the coaches are young, kill the ball, let's get out of here, because we got Georgia Tech beaten. Well, the guy they put in the game, thank God they put him in the game, because he had a little chip on his shoulder. He wanted to score. Not because of me, but he wanted to score. So in the movie, we kind of changed that around. to give the credit to the guys who wanted me to play. Does that make sense? So, make a long story short, he scores. Now there's only 27 seconds left. I got 27 seconds to create a moment I always dreamt about. Sometimes that's all you got. But you prepare for those 27 seconds, you'll have it. And your mind goes into a quiet zone. It's like almost like when you're so focused, you don't hear all the noise. You just feel what you need to do. And that's what happened. When I was on defense, I went into that quiet zone, and I went into that focus zone. And I moved on the ball, and my energy took me towards the ball carrier, which made the tackle. As the game ended, got the tackle, and that's when the guys came on, carried me off. It was a historical moment. Never happened at Notre Dame. Never. No one's ever been carried off that field. First time ever. And it happened. And, hey, they made a movie out of it. You know why? There was a sports guy, writer, in that locker room. Kind of, I don't know if he was being sarcastic. It didn't matter, but he said something that was important. He said, "Who are you? Everybody's cheering for you. I don't know who you are. No one. You don't even have a name on your jersey." I said, "Dude, the people cheering for me were my schoolmates. I was a bingo bout boxer. I'm not going to tell them that. I won the bingo bouts. I got, you become a champion in the hearts of the students, right? And that's how they got to know me. And I couldn't not explain that to them. It would take too long. I said, "Those are my buddies up in the stands, I'm sure, who cheered for me." If the student bodies cheered, the whole stadium starts cheering because they do what the students do. And that's what happened. So to make a long story short, he says to me, without hesitation, "This never happened at Notre Dame. Only happens in Hollywood." Bingo. That was it. That little seed of only happens in Hollywood. No, it doesn't. It happens in real life, dude. Then when I saw the movie Rocky, I said, I'm making a movie to show them this does happen.
It's incredible.
Yeah, that was the seed.
I just want to know, after having this dream for so many years and working so hard with all the discipline and all the character traits you developed in the Navy, and then it comes true. Did it match the dream as it played out in your head all those years?
Bigger than you thought. You can't explain it. It's a magical moment. It's a feeling you can't explain, or you could tell someone unless they do it. It's a joyful moment. It's a euphoria moment. It's a moment you can't explain. It's almost like my dad, as he was dying, he was in his deathbed, and he says to the boys, there's 7 of us, he says, "I'm going home now, boys." I said, "He's going, aren't you home?" "He's going home." And that's what it felt like in that moment. I came home.